ears and engage your brain. You're listening to Grounded with best-selling author and speaker Ryan Dobson.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Sitting here with Toben. It's Free for All Friday. Is it?
It is a Free for All Friday.
It's Friday!
Allah.
It's Free for All.
Very excited.
It's not going to be totally free for all. It's going to be partly free for all.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of a
Free-ish.
topic.
Free-ish.
We got friends in the studio. We got Allan Spiers from Slingstone Media
Productions, but that's
Productions.
okay. Close enough.
Man, I was close.
Is that based on David?
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I put it together just like that.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I'm so glad you put that
David.
together
David
for
was
me.
given, 5 stones,
Yeah.
One for
and
each of
he
the
did.
brothers.
Only
and he
needed one.
did. He did what God told him to do, and so
How legendary do you become? You've got 5 stones, and you're like, I'm just going to go, wow, it's over.
And
One
Just
shot.
one.
One
well,
shot.
but he got one for
Each of the
Goliath,
brothers.
and then one for each of
Goliath
Goliath's
had 4
brothers.
brothers.
Did he get them too?
No,
We
he
don't know.
he was prepared.
You know what? That's the beginning of the
Wait,
sniper
here's
one shot, one kill.
Here's the deal, though. How amazing are you? You got 5 targets. You just get 5 stones. You take out Big Brother, and you're like, I got 4 more.
Then you
And
see,
they're like,
see them all run away.
I'm
Yeah.
out. They're running away, and you're
Yeah.
like, wait, let me get my sword out.
Come at me, bro.
Come. Don't be scared, homie.
Well, and that shows the confidence of David in God more
Yes,
than anything,
yes,
and that's
yes.
why
I love
chose
it
the
when
name.
in that story he says, "The Lord has saved me from the paw of the bear and the claw of the lion, and He can save me from you too." Didn't say will.
Will.
Yeah.
He can. I might die,
Yeah.
but if I do, I'm going out swinging.
I'm going down.
Yeah. Sam Bhatt,
Holla.
where you been?
Traveling.
Do you not love us?
Too much
Just
travel.
don't come anymore.
I know.
Don't come to the studio.
I'm going to come. I promise. I'm going to come here more often.
More often.
Promise.
We're going to Nashville together.
We are.
Hang out.
We should go hang out.
When are you going to
Nash
Nashville?
Nash Vegas.
NRB, National Religious Broadcast.
Are you really?
Yeah.
When is that?
I'm there for a whole
18th to
less than
21st
24 hours.
Of February?
You get to sit on the floor.
Wow, cool.
You should come. Come on out.
To NRB?
Yeah, come
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've-
You see some crazy hairstyles at NRB.
yeah.
I mean, there's some
You see some hair made for radio.
Yeah.
hair made for radio.
That's what's
That
up.
is
Yeah.
definitely right. And you're talking to the guys in the studio.
I'm always
Look,
here's
you
the
and
thing.
me and Mike have almost no hair between the 3 of us. I mean, we all have buzz cuts.
Yeah.
I got
And,
you guys covered, though.
And yet,
Yeah, you do.
And yet,
It's
NRB.
How long does it take you to grow a full beard?
About 30 seconds.
What's up with you?
I'm like a chia Indian.
Does your
You
wife
add
dig the
water
beard or
and I
not
grow,
dig the
you know?
beard?
No, this is literally a couple days. So,
Wow.
yeah.
We'll post a photo.
Water really
You
does
got to go
not-
for the full on. Go just like,
Yeah, then
Like
they,
Moses.
then I'm at an airport and then it's
Oh,
all
you
over.
travel a
Forget
lot.
about
It's
it.
true.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
true.
look there. Did he
how
forgot his
differently
turban
are you
over there?
treated? It's so obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is what it is. I kind of have to accept it because
Wouldn't you rather them say, hey, we racially profile?
Yes. I
Right.
really would.
Instead of
Because
just
if it's the
pretending
next
like-
guy that looks like me and they
Yeah.
check him and he's really the one, great. I'd be happy if they check both of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just laugh about it.
So nice. I remember I got checked 8 out of 10 flights in a row. And so as I'm getting patted down, I go, hey, why am I getting pulled out? It's a random search, sir. I go, no, it's not. I've been checked 8 out of 10 flights. Sir, this is all random. I'm like, I don't think you know what that word means.
Yeah.
I got a bigger pat down after that.
I was going to say, was that pre-invasive pat down or post-invasive pat
Pre, I wouldn't say a word now.
Man,
Because
now
if
it's
you
forget
if you
about
got
it.
8 of
Remember
those,
me almost getting arrested in John Wayne Airport?
I do. I totally remember. Your skate tool.
serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going through, I got a cast on, broken my arm.
Right.
Badly. I was in South America breaking my arm.
Yeah, it was shattered, and so he was coming back with.
I got big,
totally
high up on the
messed up.
arm, bent elbow cast. And I've got my skateboard attached to my backpack. Got one of those old skateboard backpacks.
Yep.
And I have a Dark Star Power Tools.
Is this
Tool.
post 9/11?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going through. I put my board through. I put my bag through, and I get pulled over. And the woman goes, "Sir, I think we're gonna take this tool away." And I go, "Why?" Because I've traveled with it. I've been overseas with it. I mean, I've been through the airport in Amsterdam, where when you're at the gate, the dude's got a machine gun,
Oh, geez.
and they're asking you, "Why are you leaving your group early? Where's the rest of your group?" And you start to. You just pee a little bit.
Yeah. Panic pee.
And I go, well, why? And she goes, well, you can't bring power tools on an airplane. And I laugh. I was like, oh, that's totally funny. And she's looking at me like, I'm not laughing.
It's not funny.
Wow.
And I go, no. That's a brand name. Dark Star Power Tools is a brand name. There's nothing power about this. There's no electricity. There's no batteries. There's no gas. There's nothing. And she goes, well, you can't bring power tools on a plane. I go, can you ask your supervisor, please? I'm thinking, someone's smarter than you. Supervisor comes over, sir, you can't bring power tools on a plane. And I go, yeah, I know. The whole line is backed up.
Oh, no.
I go, yeah, I know. You can't bring power tools on a plane. You do see what you're looking at. And I'm freaking out. Now, this has gone on for quite some
With
time.
the cast.
And, yeah, with the cast. And finally she goes, sir, do you see it says power tools? And I go, yeah, it says it. It's a sticker. I could write power tools on my backpack and it wouldn't make it one. Would you take that away too? And then half the line starts laughing and I realize, I'm in trouble now. I made the line laugh at you.
Yeah, they don't like that.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're going to take this away in John Wayne Airport? And I'm emphasizing now. And I'm like, I've been all over the world with this, and you're going to steal from me? I'm freaking out. I hear this, sir, please calm down. I turn around. It's the sheriff.
Oh, no way.
He's got his hand on the butt of the gun. And I was like, whatever, just steal from me. I go, you guys are thieves. This is ridiculous. I pick up my bag and I walk away. And my brain now has gone into full-on injustice overload. And it's going, that's right, man. Get arrested. It'll be worth it. Stick it to the man. Take it to court. Make a precedent. That's my brain talking to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I have a cop going, sir, come back here. Come back here right now. And I yell back, you want me? Come arrest me.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Who am I?
That came out of your mouth.
I am a skinny white kid. I don't want to go to jail.
With a
Sorry,
busted
but you have
arm.
power tools.
I got a cast on my arm. I am as helpless as a baby bird out of an egg. And they didn't arrest me. They let me go.
Wow.
Lucky
I was
you.
so mad. 2 weeks later, I flew to Thailand. I went through international customs,
With your power tool.
bought the tool just to prove that I could go through with it.
Oh, my god.
Did it help anything? No, it didn't
They
help
are
anything.
thieves, man.
See, what do you think would happen
Do you know
if
they
you did
sell
that
that
today?
stuff?
well, you know
What?
The
Hold
stuff
on
they
a minute.
take.
Hold on. The
The
stuff,
stuff
they confiscate, they
goes
sell?
goes to a shop where they sell all that stuff. All the
Okay,
pocket
so
knives they take
USA
away.
Today had an article like 2 weeks ago, and it said that just under $500,000 in change was recorded at TSAs.
Yeah.
$500,000
kidding.
in change. Just quarters,
not right.
dimes,
That's not
nickels
right.
that people leave because they're running to their flights.
Well, you've made them late.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was at an airport, and here's the thing. I now know I'm getting stopped for a reason. My name's on a list. It has to be, because I talk about TSA all the time. I'm at the airport, one lane open, 25-minute line. I counted 13 TSA agents not doing anything.
Oh man.
13.
That's sad.
Do you remember when we were in Springfield, Missouri, and that Chihuahua got patted down?
Oh.
And
Stop.
Yeah.
Are
no,
you
seriously.
serious?
They pulled the TSA pulled this
dog?
dog. Yeah. And we were both
Tobin and I are
freaking
flying,
out.
and we're trying to grab our phones to take photos, and we couldn't get them out fast enough.
dog?
And
Yeah.
the dog's like, and I'm like,
just so- and
get
they're like-
bit, please get bit, please, I saw a baby get patted down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a baby get pulled out of a car seat and get patted down. They patted a baby down.
That
They're like
is
feeling the
ridiculous.
diaper.
Oh my god.
I'm like, this is the different
That's
kind
why
of
I
diaper
won't
bomb.
make. That's why I won't make my family fly. I honestly have
I
to
know
tell
what
you,
you're
I would
saying.
not put my family on a plane because of that.
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to get a motorhome.
I've got an 11-year-old.
I put it out on the radio. If anybody's got a motorhome,
There's
like
no
a
way.
24-foot diesel, I'm buying.
You'll take it,
Yeah, I'm buying.
Wow.
Speaking of babies,
Oh yeah.
I'm sleep deprived.
dude.
I
You
can
hallucinate?
So I'm on the way.
Fascinating.
By the way, sorry, I'm late. I made all these guys late. I called the office. I was like, listen, I got guests coming. Stick them in my office. Do whatever. I don't understand. I took my son to school. I was hungry. I went and got a bagel. I spilled peanut butter on my pants. And it was just one spot. I was like, whatever, one spot, no big deal. 5 more times.
Oh no.
Oh nuts.
I'm holding napkins underneath the bagel. I spilled 3 more times on my 6 times, 3 more times on my pants and twice on my shirt. And I'm just sitting. I came to the parking lot and I've got so much peanut butter on me. And I'm like, really? Seriously, this is my life now? I drove home and changed.
Dude, you don't get sleep. You have a baby.
That's okay.
And
It's
the truth
allowed.
is, I really actually got quite a bit last night. It was intermittent. Laura didn't
compound,
get
though.
any. Laura got almost 0. We got Fussy Baby right now. And here's the thing. I got Fussy Baby. Please do not send me advice. I don't care what your grandma used to do to help out with your baby. I made the mistake of talking about Lincoln's colic when he was a baby.
Everybody had something to say.
Someone was telling me like, oh, if you cut an onion in half and you put it in 2 cups of water and you boil it for a half an hour and you strain it, you put it in a bottle. I'm like, will you kill a baby? Well, you didn't really give your baby onion juice.
That's disgusting.
The next week, someone was like, yeah, if you crush up peppermints and you boil it in water. I'm like, give your baby sugar water? That's what your solution is? Straight up sugar for the baby.
Well, the best advice we ever got when we had a kid like that was a friend of ours said, go to the doctor and have them prescribe codeine, some stuff with codeine. Give your baby a little bit, and then you drink the rest of the bottle, and everything's fine.
I like that one.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
man.
So I'm driving over here. The car in front of me abruptly slows down, just like, woo, slows down. I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'm looking around. Nothing's happening. So I pull around him. Someone got a text.
Are you serious?
Wow.
You know what's the abrupt slowdown? And then you pull alongside of them, and their head is down, looking at the phone. And as the more sleep I lose, the
less
tendency towards violence
Yes.
gets higher and higher.
I will say Siri has saved me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I used to
iPhone
text when I
4S.
drive.
Oh, yeah.
And
No.
I made a covenant with my wife that I would no longer do it. And then when the 4S came out,
Yeah.
Siri really,
Yeah.
it took it to a whole nother level. For
Wow.
me.
Siri can't spell my daughter's name. She spells it with a Y instead of an I. But really,
She hasn't learned yet?
it's all right.
Siri hasn't learned yet?
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, that's all right.
Have you done the appointments?
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, you push the button, set up an appointment tomorrow with Sam for 12 o'clock. I have an appointment set up. This is my.
Would you
here's
like
my
a
phone.
reminder with that?
Here's my phone. I have an appointment set up. You already have 3 for that time. Would you still like me to make it? Yes. Yeah, good times.
Sounds typical.
What else did I write down? Oh, yeah, the other first day of me taking Lucy by myself to the doctor, I go get a Starbucks. I'm all stoked. I pull out. I'm like, the lid feels kind of funny. And then I dump the whole thing in my lap.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Dude,
I just drove to the
spilling.
doctor's office. I was
I've
like,
got 2 words for you: spare pants.
Yes.
Yes.
that would be nice.
You might
be
just
great.
you might
Just have a couple of extra pairs of pants in
because
your
you
car
got a
just
cool
in case.
backpack. Just strap a pair of pants to that. You can be like, "Whoa-pow!"
I should do that. That's all right.
Fresh pants.
That's a great idea.
And
Fresh
spray paint
pants.
power tools on the side.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Maybe I'll talk about does God care about football later on. I might not. I might get to that. Let's talk about
I'm a
our-
diehard Patriots fan, so you can stop right there because they're going to win.
Are
Evidently,
they?
he does care
Who
about
else is
football,
in?
according to
Patriots and who?
Giants.
Giants, yeah.
It's a repeat of 07.
Yeah.
I say.
So here, you guys can come back on. We're gonna do a staff picks, but we'll just have friends picks about who wins the Super Bowl. And I took because Whitney's like, we got to do that because it'll be the next week when we record it. I go, we can do that if we'll do a staff picks on who wins the UFC fights the night before because I don't care about football as
do 'em both.
as noted by I did not know
Who was in
was at the Super Bowl?
wait who Giants or 49ers?
Giants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who was in last year? I don't know.
Oh, shoot.
Was it Patriots?
No.
Oh,
Joanne's decided that the Giants will win because she picks all of her teams based
on-
which.
uniform she likes better.
No, not
Oh.
uniform. On which mascot could
Oh.
kick the other mascot's butt. She's like, a Giant totally beats a Patriot.
What? I will find her. My goodness.
She's uncannily accurate. Like when we do our picks for the basketball tournament, for the college basketball tournament, she does it purely by mascot.
Really?
Yeah.
How awesome would it be to get her in a fantasy basketball or fantasy football
And win
league
it.
and to see her winning and just to have fantasy football nerds just pulling their hair out because you've got a girl that's like, I think this mascot could beat up that mascot and winning that way.
That's so demoralizing.
Yeah, they're doing,
Math.
Yeah.
There's something get complicated though. Like if a dolphin plays a packer,
What is a Packer?
what is a packer?
a meat packer.
And she will say, what
Talking
stadium
about
are they
dolphin?
in?
Packer?
A dolphin gets a packer? Packer wins.
Packers got
Well,
it.
because
I don't know.
dolphins
Dolphins
get
powerful,
packing
man.
like meat
That's
packers,
right.
right? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
dolphin meat.
Every once in a
Dolphins
while, I
are
just have
friendly
to
and
explain
kind.
it to her
Friendly
so
and
that she knows
intelligent.
what, and then
Remember
she still
that?
renders her judgment. But
Yeah.
Pretty intelligent or some rye bread with some mayonnaise.
oh, jeez. So what do you want to talk about?
Tipping and tithing.
Tipping and
two
tithing.
T's.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
baby. Because you're a pastor, Sam.
I am.
You are a pastor.
I am.
And our world has changed.
Oh, yes.
The statistics on tithing is abysmal.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah. And there's got to be reasons for it. But let's get into tithing. Not tithing. Let's get into tipping
Tipping,
first. Tipping first.
I'm a tipper.
Are you?
Yep.
I'm a tipper.
Big
Sam?
tipper.
Really?
Yeah.
No one's going to disagree with me here?
I actually tip a lot.
Someone disagreed with me yesterday, and I was just like, they disagreed, and in my head, I'm like, don't go too far, Ryan. You can be really mean on accident. So I didn't really just go totally off on it. Because you hear all kinds of arguments. And I was listening to the author Toure talk about this the other day. Toure's black. He was being interviewed by a black woman. And they were asking, do you over-tip because you're black?
Really?
Yeah. Because of the stereotype.
Interesting.
Like
but
somehow
I like it.
compensating for
The black people.
People,
black-
the
okay.
stereotype saying black people don't tip.
Okay.
And I compensate on Sundays for I just overtip anyway. I just think that's what I'm doing. I am. I've
Do you
worked
have
in
like
restaurants.
a rule that you use for that, or is it just? Because I'm like a 20% guy.
I do.
I baseline at 20%.
That's base.
That's base.
That's-
so
that's
I
the-
start
20% is the min. By the way, I had someone that I'm very, very close to that I would have to leave money on the sly because what's the statistic? Like, what's the rule? Isn't the rule of tipping originally 12.5%? Wasn't that the original? Anybody know?
I think it used to be 10%.
I was going to say,
think it
I always
used to
thought
be-
it was
It used to be
10%.
10%.
See, I think it was 12.5 because I had someone that would literally look at the bill and then do the math.
Wow.
Like write out the whole equation. And it bugged me so much. And it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. And so I would just and I never wanted to get caught. You never want to be the guy that's like, really?
Yeah.
Really? You think
That
you're the big
much?
man?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I just don't want to have people spit in my food next time I come back here. Yeah. In fact, I told the person yesterday that was like, well, if you get bad service, and it's like, if you get bad service, don't be passive aggressive. Talk to the manager.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't be passive aggressive and be like, oh, I'm going to do, you know. But we're talking about the whole.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
If you get really bad service, you
Talk
will
to a
still
manager.
you'll
I
still
will
tip
s-
20%.
every
I
time.
will still tip minimum 20%.
And here's the thing, it's minimum.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't. Your baseline isn't 20%.
No, my baseline is 20. If
But
you're
you get
really good,
if you get bad service,
if you're really
do
good,
tip
you can
20%?
work your way up from that.
Oh, yeah.
If you are really bad, I can't do it.
Okay.
You
let
can't
me-
do 20.
I can't do 20.
Let me ask this then. What happens when you get comped something at the meal and you get comped $20 worth of food?
I still tip on that.
I
You-
tip
you
based
tip
on
based
what
on
the,
what
what
it
the bill
would've
would have
been.
been. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, and I do that like if I'm traveling or whatever, and I'm getting beer or whatever, and I'll do the whole bill together with that, instead of separating it out.
Oh, Allan, now, you remember back in the day when Mark used to live here and we'd go to Phantom Canyon to shoot pool all the time. We overtipped. Ridiculously overtipped. And Mark taught me that. And I was like, why do you tip so much?
because they recognized us when we walked in.
That's right. I
know
mean,
your
we'd come
name.
in with a 2-hour wait for a table and then go, oh, hey, Mark, how you doing?
Yeah.
Your table's ready. And you see people looking at him like, what? And by the way, Mark looked like a homeless person.
Pretty much.
He looked like a homeless person. His clothes looked like a homeless person. His hair looked. He's a very, very hygienic person, and
That's
his
funny.
decor, not that hygienic. I remember that. I remember not coming in because I didn't live here. It had been 3 or 4 months. I came in without him. They were like, "Oh, hey, welcome back." Put me at the first table, comped all my food.
Wow.
I looked at the bill and I go, you didn't put on. And they were like, oh, it's okay.
Wow.
And I was like, wow.
That's a huge tip.
That was a
Yeah.
big, you know where I overtipped the most? Waffle House.
I don't eat there.
I don't eat there.
Me neither.
I'm sorry. I would rather slice my toe off than eat there.
Are you kidding me?
Can't do it.
That's pretty serious.
I know. I had a
Here-
bad experience in
Disfigurement
South Carolina.
versus waffle.
Oh, no. But you had a bad experience.
Yeah,
That's
I had
fine.
a bad experience.
Okay, you know Taco Express up the street?
Yeah.
Remember the allergic reaction I had?
Yes.
Taco
to the
Express.
burrito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
I'll
allergic
never go
reaction
back.
from a burrito?
Yep.
But you have burritos all the time.
I do.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
What
Not
was-
from there.
What?
I don't know. My upper lip swelled up like Angelina Jolie and Goldie Hawn put together.
Wow.
Yeah, full on. I was Howard the Duck. In fact, I was sitting in MT's office, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. And later on, he told me, he's like, "What's wrong with your face, man?" You're
like,
burrito.
I ate a burrito. I'm not allergic to anything. Like I went to my son's school, and there's a big sign on the sign-in sheet saying, "We now have an egg allergy in school. You can't bring anything that has eggs in it."
Yep.
Are you serious?
One student, entire school, no eggs.
Where the girls go, there's a peanut allergy.
Oh yeah.
And so it's the same thing. No peanut-based
Nothing.
products. And when you
No nut-based products.
no nut-based
No
products.
coconut oil.
And when you realize how many things have some sort of nuts in them,
You know why?
it's craziness. And all of the staff are trained with the EpiPen.
Oh, yeah.
So every teacher in every classroom has the EpiPen, which is that thing
Yeah, you
that
jam
you like
into your leg.
jam
So,
into your
so
leg.
someone doesn't go into anaphylactic shock.
You can't like gently push it in, like
No,
because
it's
I
a
used to watch
jab.
the front desk, and so they're like, "You need to know how to use the EpiPen," and I got a Charlie horse. She's like demonstrating, wham, right in the thigh. I'm like, I'm supposed to do that to like a 7-year-old? Are you kidding?
You'll be hitting their bone with
Oh,
that
yeah,
thing.
yes,
Oh,
you
yeah,
will.
you will.
It's
But
too
it-
bad that producer Whitney shirked her duties today and didn't come in.
Uh-oh.
Duty
Yeah.
shirker.
Duty. Yeah.
I'm just going to have the awkward pause before I say just kidding. She doesn't come on Thursdays. It's her day off. And I harassed her all week about coming in on Thursday because she had her birthday and she took a couple days off for her birthday.
There you go.
But it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Mr. and Mrs. Oman, your daughter does a fantastic job. A fantastic, fantastic job. It's okay that she doesn't come in today. She taught kindergarten. There's a kid that had a nut allergy that was so severe, they opened a jar of peanut butter and the kid went into shock.
Oh, my goodness.
They opened it, and she had to EpiPen
Yeah.
a 5-year-old.
Wow.
That happened off a keyboard at the girls' school. That a kid who, this is before they had the ban, kid ate a peanut butter sandwich, went to computer lab, typed on the computer keys.
I thought you meant piano keyboard.
No. Typed on the computer keys. Another kid with a peanut allergy came in, used the same keyboard, and went into
Of course, the
Into
kid was
anaphylactic
licking his
shock.
fingers. I mean, which is
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but that was
Just
the
coulda wiped
end
his
of-
mouth.
That
Yeah.
was the end of
My
the peanut
cousin Brad
allergy.
went golfing and got into poison ivy and didn't know it and wiped his mouth and swallowed it. Yeah, baby.
Are you serious?
What
And
happened?
got it all over him. Like, it was.
Did his throat seize up?
Yeah, it was bad. Well, listen, it wasn't
nuts.
just the throat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh,
and what's this have to do
stop.
with tipping?
Because you had a bad experience at
Waffle
Waffle
House.
House.
That's right,
And
okay.
I had a
And
bad
that
experience at
sounds
Taco
good.
Express. Listen, if you have a bad experience in a restaurant, like I had a bad experience with sesame seeds, sesame crackers when I was little. I got sick. I got car sick and
You'll
threw
never
up.
eat 'em again.
I love sesame seeds now, but it was easy 25 years before I had sesame
My
seeds.
wife was that
again.
way with Thousand Island dressing.
When you throw up Thousand Island dressing, you never want to have that again.
No,
Never
so,
go back
so
again.
until about maybe 5 or 6 years ago,
Oh, gracious.
did she start eating it again. So
Jeez.
same.
But here's my
same
thing
sort of
with Waffle House. The girls that work there are so nice, and they're working a Waffle House. That says something.
That does.
I got to be honest, it does.
Yep.
For a lot of places, that does say something. It says
agree.
there are other places that I could work, but I don't know if I
But
can
I
get a
choose
job
Waffle
there.
House.
They're super nice. Their service is crazy fast, and the bill is so cheap.
Well, and I-
20%. I'm giving you like $1.50, and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Gotta go more.
I can, if the 20% is under $5, I'm giving $5, and I still feel a little bit guilty.
Yeah.
Well, and they can't be too bad because there's 2 new ones that just popped up in town.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
They're expanding.
Well, and
One at
and-
Austin Bluffs and Academy, roughly. And,
no, that's been there.
It's been popped up in the last year and a half, maybe.
Nope.
Oh,
Really?
dude, it
I've
used to be a
never known that
Blockbuster.
there was one there.
What? That was a Blockbuster?
I think so.
That's a Waffle House.
There was a Blockbuster.
That tells you something
there.
about what's going
Yeah.
on in culture.
I don't know where.
No
it
more
is.
Blockbuster. Time
But
for
Waffle
Waffle
House.
House.
Yeah.
Pretty sad because I drive by there and I must block it out of my
You
brain.
must. It's like
Trauma.
Yeah. Well, here's my deal with having a colicky son and a hyper son. I need food fast.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come fast, all I hear about is how hungry I am, and it's like, yeah, me too. Daddy's hungry too, and now Daddy's hungry and frustrated.
Look what you've done to me.
and Waffle House curbs that.
Yes.
They get the food out quick, baby.
yeah.
You order, it's there.
Speed demons.
We can't even play through, one game of Angry Birds, and it's there.
And it's there.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, but the tipping, people are like, why do I subsidize someone's life? And Europe, you have a living wage on waitressing and waitering, and you
do,
don't
don't you?
hear.
You don't, yeah.
Aisha was saying when she was a waitress, she got $2 an hour.
Yeah.
What?
Two.
Oh, yeah. They don't make minimum wage.
How can they not?
They don't make minimum wage because of
make-
tips.
Because of tips.
They don't get minimum wage. Oh no. I don't know how much they make, but it's bad.
It's not good.
It's
yeah.
bad. In San Francisco, they automatically add a percentage to your bill. It's compulsory, so that they can pay for health care for the workers there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Well, okay. So here's my other
Alan's
question.
not okay with that.
I'm not okay with that. I mean, my issue is tipping to me is I guess I like to gift when I gift people.
Yeah.
And so I think of tipping in some ways as gifting,
All right.
in the sense of I want to bless you in this.
Yep.
And so when something is forced upon me,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
a problem with that. Okay, I'm going to
Engineer Mike says,
force you to gift that guy 25% just because.
I see your point.
Here's what I'd rather them do: just raise your prices.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
And then don't tell me.
Yeah, mark it up. Yeah. Okay, so here's another question.
All right.
So I'm traveling, I'm going to an airport, and I'm, the little newsstand type of places, right? You know, you can get your soda or whatever, magazines.
In an airport.
In an airport.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
There are some that have a tip line.
I know.
Okay. So do I tip off of a pack of gum?
No.
Do I? But it's that same.
That's not a service
I'm
industry.
almost
Are you
being forced
serious?
into
The person's
guilt.
not serving you. Oh no.
Okay,
no.
then what about this? What about when I go to pick up my pizza at Papa John's and there's a tip line?
No.
I feel like I'm guilted into it.
No. I'm not.
Well, I
like
don't
just
do that.
yesterday.
Here's the deal: if you show up at my door, I'll tip you. And I'll do 20% because you got to drive out. And I appreciate it, man. When it's snowy and cold and you show up at my door with a hot pie, I'm like, hot pie.
Well, just yesterday I went to a Greek restaurant and ordered some food.
Yeah.
And of course, the girl prints out the receipt or my transaction so I can sign it with my card. And there's a tip line at the bottom. And I'm like,
What'd you do for me?
"What'd you do for me?" Nothing. So I just signed it and handed it right back to her because she didn't do anything.
Right.
For me.
Right.
Now, if I'm sitting at a restaurant and somebody walks up and says, "Hi, would you like
Sure.
some water and
Yeah.
whatever?"
Keeps your Diet Coke fresh.
Yeah, that to me is a tippable.
Do you know where I feel guilty? At a place like Soup Plantation, Super Salad, when you pay for all your stuff and then the person comes and brings you drinks and gets you more silverware. And I don't carry cash very often. And then I'm like, oh, man. And then I feel like and then I'm like, no, I'll get it.
Or at a buffet.
The buffet conundrum.
For example, I love Indian buffets, right? Love them.
Is there one in town?
Oh yeah.
What?
There's
What?
two.
A
One's
good one?
better. One is definitely better.
Which
than
one's
the other.
better?
Merch Masala.
Ooh, that's a
off of
good one.
Union and Academy.
Is it good?
Solid.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go there.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
The thing is all they'll
that-
do is bring me my drink and leave me alone for the rest of the time.
Oh, they don't keep bringing drinks back?
Well, I mean, if you ask for it. So
what do you
I-
do? So do you tip 20% there?
Yeah.
Do you really?
You're a
Well,
good
they're my
man.
people, so.
So there's some solidarity there. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what though, on Sundays I've worked in enough restaurants to where it's like, oh, it's Sunday, great, the Christians are coming. And
Are you either going to make them look bad or good? Because the Christians, they don't tip very well.
Oh no, it's beyond that. It's when you've got the $20 bill that's left in the bill, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I got a huge tip, and it's a tract.
The fake bills.
Oh no.
They've undertipped you,
And-
gotten your hopes up,
Faked you
slapped you in the face, and then they're like, but this is the best tip of all. And
No,
you're
it's
like,
Let me tell you something about that tip.
and here's the thing too,
Worthless.
I'm just telling all my listeners, I've not participated in this because my conscience literally makes me, like when I was little, if I'd get sick, the first thing my parents would ask me is there something you need to tell us? Because if my conscience is overactive, I get sick, physically sick. So I can't, do all that kind of stuff. If you undertip, they will not forget. Don't ever go back to that restaurant. If you're snotty and you're, and rude to your server and you undertip, just don't ever go back. You've lost privileges at that restaurant forever.
Agreed.
Well, and for me, that's similar. Tipping is similar to the idea of being gracious in my mind.
Sure,
So
sure,
if
sure,
there's
sure.
something wrong at the restaurant, I want to be gracious and assume maybe that it's my fault, but at least be gracious to them and talk to them and
What about, I'm just looking
Do you
at
send
your
food
drink.
back if it's not the way you want it?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I rarely do it.
I
I do,
rarely
but
do
I
that.
do it in a gentle manner.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
would never be like, "Hey, my food isn't
Right,
You
right,
messed
right.
up here." I'd always
No,
say,
no.
"Hey, I think you may."
Because that person
some
didn't
may-
cook your food.
Right. It may be. I might do it in a way. It's kind of. I may have miscommunicated. This is what I was asking for the first. Is there any way to make that work?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're kind
tactful.
of taking the
Yeah.
fault,
You're tactful.
right?
Yeah.
Because people want to help.
I hate the over-explanation.
Yeah.
I was at a restaurant not long ago with someone, and they're like, here's what I want, and no one ever gets this right. And the girl goes, I got it right last time you were here.
Oh.
Ouch.
Bam.
Now here's what's going on in my head. Oh no.
We're so screwed.
Are you going to mess up my food or just their food?
Oh man.
Because I like this place,
Yeah.
and I come here often, and
wanna
I
come
always
back.
overtip. Do you remember that it's me that does all that? I'm not the difficult one. Or explaining why you have to have food a certain way. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
I realized in the food industry, people help people they like.
Yes.
And if they like you, they're
every
willing to go
service
the extra
industry.
mile.
that's not.
Well,
I don't
very
think
true.
that's
Because you
just
fly
true.
all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
Sam.
Very true.
The person behind the counter has power.
Exactly.
They have the power to put you in first
Upgrade you.
or to send your bag to Tokyo.
Exactly. That's so true.
Although they can't send your bag to Tokyo anymore because they usually show you what the bag
Oh no,
is.
they'll still send it.
They can accidentally take the
rip it off and just stick a new one on there. Yeah.
Is that your bag tag?
They can
No.
accidentally take the tag off your bag.
But I think it's that way within any industry.
Yeah.
Right.
I
The
think
people
you're right.
who I like, I want to serve more. It's
Yeah.
it's those clients that I sometimes have that want to underpay
Yeah.
but have super high demands, and it's like,
Right.
well, you don't
Yes.
know one what you want, and secondly, you're going to expect me to do 10 times more for less money. It's
Yeah.
the same way in the service industry. I would think.
Oftentimes, if I give a sponsor a break on my honorarium for speaking, they're the most difficult, and I get the worst reviews.
Yeah, that's the.
Where they ask for more things than because I've got a writer. It specifically says this is what I'm contracted to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to add more, you can, but we've got to renegotiate then. And there are times where I'll get the review back, and I'm like, I didn't want to do your event anyway. I did you a favor,
Yeah,
and
and
this is what I
you're-
get.
yeah.
I flew into Montana one time late. It was late. Flights had been delayed. People were, a little upset, and lots of bags didn't make it. And you got people up there yelling at the gate person in Montana.
What are they gonna do?
Yeah, and so it embarrasses me. So I got up there and I raised my voice and I go, now listen. I know that the weather delays are specifically your fault, and you did this to me personally. So as I stand here, there will be some loud talking. I might even wave my arms and hands around because I know that you've done this to me,
I need
and
to
you have
try
the power
that.
over the universe and its weather.
I need
And it
to
got
try
real
that.
quiet, and the woman's trying not to laugh, and her eyes were so big. And I start laughing, and I go, "How's your night been?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "It's been kind of tough." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
I would
see
think.
that." And I looked over at the guy that was yelling. I just looked right over at him, and he looked back at me like, "I hate you." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yep, you do."
See, I can't tell you how many car upgrades I've gotten, flight upgrade by just saying something like, "Hey, I know you're having a rough day, but I just want to let you know you're doing a great job having these people,"
Yeah.
and they will love on you.
Yeah.
yeah, Engineer
know?
Mike wants to jump in on this one.
So a friend of mine got tickets to an Avalanche game a couple weeks ago,
Avs.
and we got club level seats. So
That's
they're
rugby,
mid-level. Yeah,
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
dude.
Kidding.
they got mid-level seats. These are nice seats. Well, apparently the ticketing company double sold our tickets, and so these other people had our seats. And so it was one of those things. We're sitting, we're talking with the usher, we're talking with the people, and we're like, what can we do here? Because we're hosed. We got up here and now we don't have seats.
Yeah.
And because we had it was, man, this sucks. Is there something we can do? We got like $40 upgrades per seats. We got hockey pucks. We got programs.
What?
And we got and the VP said, you call us next game you want to go to. You call us and we'll take care of you.
Whoa! Avs,
But I think,
way to
but
go.
I think that that's
Service.
it. It's
That
the
is.
idea of
That's right.
saying, look, instead of demanding our rights
Right.
or demanding that the food was wrong
yeah.
or whatever, when people are nice to us, it's like, oh yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
can't tell
bend
you
over
how many
backwards for
tickets
you.
I've gotten out of by being respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gotten
That's
out of a
huge.
lot. I've
Yeah.
gotten
Sorry.
lots of
Maybe.
tickets. In fact, the last big one, it's when I had my motorcycle still.
Yeah.
So I used to have a 78 Triumph, and it's 100% illegal. I got no gauges, I got no turn signals, I got no mufflers, I got straight pipes. It's loud, and I got 3-year-old expired tags.
Oh no.
It had been broken. It had been stolen. I had it rebuilt. I had some, stuff done to it. First warm day of the season, and I was like, I gotta get out. I gotta get out. I'm 4 blocks from home. Literally, I get pulled over by a motorcycle cop, and I was like, oh. And he comes up, and he's like, do you know I pulled you over? And I'm like, I absolutely do. And he looks at me, and I go, I'm wrong, man. You can totally write me a ticket. I go,
Yes.
my bike got stolen. I had it rebuilt. And he goes, first warm day of the season? I go, yeah. I go, but my tags are way expired. I go, you write me a ticket, no problem. And he looks at me so funny. And he's standing there looking at my bike, and he's seeing every illegal thing on it. Every illegal thing on it. And I see that there's a bee on his collar getting ready to crawl in. And I go, sir, there's a bee on your collar. I think it's going to get into your neck. And he kind of looks down, and I was like, and I'm pointing the radio audience can't see me. I'm pointing exactly where it is, and he flicks it away, and he goes, I go, been one of those days? And he goes, you got no idea.
Yeah.
And later he goes, why are you so polite? I go, because you could impound my bike and take it away. And he goes, yes, I can.
Unbelievable.
So lets me go.
Wow.
And I go, why you let me go? And he goes, I impounded 2 bikes today. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I had a guy swearing at me before I got off my bike, yelling at me. Yeah.
No
using an
way.
inappropriate racial term.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, how dumb are you? This guy's holding a gun and a club.
Yeah.
He's got handcuffs. He could handcuff you, then use either.
That's just stupid.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Be kind.
Yes.
Be kind.
Yep.
So let's jump into tithe.
Yes.
Would tithing be better if it was public like tipping? If there was a repercussion for under tithing, you know what I'm saying?
If it was compulsory, you walk into the church and
Well,
where's
I mean,
your
there is a
20%?
church in which it is compulsory.
What?
What?
The Mormon church
Yes. It
Okay.
is. Yeah,
has
yeah.
compulsory giving. You have to submit this is what I understand from my friend who has recently left the Mormon church. You actually have to file your tax return with the church.
With a Mormon accountant?
With a Mormon account.
With the Mormon accountant.
Come on.
I did
So that
hear
they
that.
can
Yeah.
report that you paid your
tithe
tithe
to the
based on your
church.
income. So
Yeah.
they,
Well,
And then what happens
that's
if you
why
don't?
Mitt Romney will willingly give out his tax return and say simply that.
That's what
I've
you were
done
talking
this.
about. That's what I
was
I've
talking
done
about
this.
yesterday.
I'm above the law.
Because they just showed Obama gave 1% and Romney had given 15 and then
20%.
20.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
because
It's compulsory.
It's compulsory. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that
Yeah.
correlation. But
Sam, so you're a pastor. You're a head
Yes.
pastor. You're bivocational.
Yes.
You're like, what, trivocational?
Try. Actually, try. Yeah.
Have you written?
Working on a written.
So you're
Quad-
getting ready to be quad vocational.
vocational.
Well, that
Because you're a writer, a speaker.
it's too hard.
You work in radio, and you're a pastor.
Yes. And yes. I don't know what you just said, but yes.
Writer, speaker, radio, pastor.
Yes.
All
All
right.
those. Yeah, that's right. And
So-
parent, dad. Does that count?
You don't get paid for being a dad. No. That job never.
I get love.
Here's what I think. I think that in the excess 80s, I think before that, tithe was probably higher. I don't have statistics on this, but I think it was probably higher. And then you had the televangelists exposés, where it's the houses with the boats and the cars and the
big hair.
air-conditioned dog houses and all of that stuff going on, and there was a disillusionment happening. I think that was the start.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this. What's the percent for tithe?
I think baseline is 10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Okay. Here's the thing that a lot of Christendom doesn't understand is that the old, by Old Testament law,
yeah.
it was 10%.
Okay.
By Pharisaical law in the New Testament, it was 10%. Because they wanted to live so strictly to the law. When Christ came and abolished it, there's only 3 verses in the whole New Testament that speaks of tithing, and none of them say 10%.
But doesn't the word tithe itself mean 10%? No.
It means, well, okay, so the way that the New Testament explains tithe, it explains it in a way of being a cheerful giver. It does say give your first fruits, but it doesn't say the
Which is a different thing. Tithe and first fruits were two different
They were
types,
two completely
totally
different concepts.
things.
Oh,
with
I'm
that.
gonna get schooled. Awesome.
So
Hit us up. Give us the
well,
down low on tithe.
it's really it's there are going to be months where you're gonna want to give more than 10%.
Sure,
Because you can.
but I won't.
That's the concept.
No, I'm kidding.
But that's
most
sorry.
people,
But that's the
that's-
reality of Christendom is nobody's going to give more than 10% because 10% is their official standard. And that's all they're going to do because if it's the minimum that they can feel they get away with in the church, that's all they're going to give. So in Colorado, there's a few churches that we're working with to just understand tithing better. $1,700 per person per year, per adult per year is the average tithe. Okay? So $1,700 per person, per adult in your congregation.
Wait, and then so that's based on like a $17,000 a year income?
Correct. Well, it's based on that's what we've seen historically being given in the church.
So that's probably
breaks down to like $44 per week.
So that's basically like 1 or 2%, maybe.
Right.
Okay.
Now, our church, sadly, $1,700 is the average. Our church is around $650 per person, per adult, per year. And we've been in existence for almost a year and a half. But that just shows, wow, we either are not giving, we can't give because we don't have money, or people are just using their money to go outside of the church. So the questions that we're asking as a pastoral staff are, should we tell them the money has to go to the church? Should we tell them they can't give outside the church? And should we tell them and blast them and tell them, this is our average. This is what the state average is. We're a third.
Guilt them into it.
Yeah, and that's the concept. But, I never want to preach a message guilting people into giving.
Do you think it's a lack of knowledge? Do you think there was an actual understanding? Or maybe, because there are churches where I know I wouldn't give 10% to that church because it's opulent. And I just think I don't want money going to that. I'll give a bunch of my tithe to missionaries I know and to other things. I'll give a little bit here, but clearly in my estimation, you don't need my money.
Right.
And then it's odd when I find out the church is madly in debt, and I'm like, well, then you shouldn't have built those things. That would be a poor use of money.
That's what I was going to talk to. In some ways, the whole idea of tithing oftentimes implies that we are supplying the church with whatever it needs. And I think that in some ways that works. But in my mind, at least from the standpoint of a pastor, the tithe actually goes to pay the pastor in many ways. So I don't have a problem tithing if I know that my pastor is actually being taken care of. But the issue for me is the whole debt issue and what's happening in a church. And I look at it and go,
you guys don't have a building, right?
No.
Let me throw a scenario at you. So
hang on a second, because you don't have a building.
No. But in reference to that, it's kind of like this. I worked at a church where I knew what the pastor made, and I knew how much work he didn't do. And I sat back for 2 years and said, how is it that we can take advantage of the tithe as pastors? Because like you're writing a check to say, I'm taking care of my pastor. But people that are in the ministry and in that church world, in that realm, we can so easily take advantage of the tithe. And it scares me. That's one of the chapters that I'm writing about in my book is stealing the tithe. And it speaks about pastors who believe that they're called to the ministry and they take advantage of that liberty. They're given a church credit card. They're given 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Because the people that pay you are working their tails off to pay your salary, and they make the average church, let's say the average income in a church is $50K. Well, that pastor's probably making sometimes even double that. And these people get maybe 1 to 2 weeks off of vacation. He gets 6. I mean, I understand worth double honor, but when they're stealing that time away and that's one of the reasons why I've struggled with going back full time into the pastoral, which is why I feel like bivocational has helped me understand and appreciate. Okay, here's my time that I get to do church. Here's what's going to pay my bills, and here's my passion. And I feel like with the passion, it drives we're not dependent on the people's tithe.
See, I don't know if this speaks to that issue. I got in an argument with a pastor one time, because he said they were having a speaker come in. He's like, this guy wants $1,000 to come speak here. And I go, really? That's it? And it was a big name person. I go, you got a deal. I'd charge you way more than that. He just tore me open. How can you call yourself a Christian? How do you sleep at night? Charging some, just went on and on and on. And I go, you're a pastor, right? Because I knew he was. And he goes, yeah. I go, so where do you live? And he lived in a church paid for home. And I go, you don't pay taxes? And he's like, no. I go, you pay your insurance? Church pays that.
100%.
Gave him a car. I mean, the list went on and on and on. And I go, I pay 47% taxes. I pay my own health insurance. I pay my own mortgage. I pay for my own car, all of those things. I go, in $1,000, my take home
is $300.
Well, let's see. My agent gets 20%, so you go to 800.
Mm-hmm.
I pay 47% in taxes, so I'm getting about $400, there. And then you're going to talk about my health insurance, my car insurance, all those things. $1,000 equals $200 maybe. Somewhere, maybe a little more than that, but not much.
Yeah.
Not much. And he still was just like, I don't know how you sleep.
That's scary.
I was like, wow,
There's some ignorance there.
Well, and it's even worse when you've explained the whole thing, and it's like, but I'm right and you're wrong.
But and that's the one thing that pastors don't understand sometimes.
Engineer Mike wants to weigh in.
Go for
Hit it.
Well, and then there's the other side of that. The church I'm at, we don't have a building. We meet at the Briargate Y.
Yeah.
We pay our pastor. We do that. 2 years ago, our pastor was working. We had $15,000 in our general fund. And my dad, who's an elder there, one of the people in the church said, you have this money. I'm not giving you money. You don't need money.
Wow.
So it's this idea from the people who come to the church idea of, well, the church should just be there. Well, no, you need to give your first fruits. But it's this idea of, well, you have money, so obviously you don't need me to give you anymore.
Here's one for you. And I don't know how this applies to your situation because your church is a little smaller, but we were at a mega church a number of years ago, and the pastor got up and said, okay, we're still working on the AV system. We need that $3 million to update the AV in the church, and I'm looking at it going, it all looks good to me. Like, they've got like 10 huge screens and the sound was good. And I'm looking at the soundboard
What do you
going,
need to update?
and I'm like, what do you need to update?
Yeah.
And he's making a plea for $3 million to update the sound system. And I was never less motivated to give than being in that situation because I'm thinking, is anybody going to come to Christ
because
your
sound.
AV system is better?
Right. Well, we just this weekend had a town meeting or all church meeting, whatever, at our church. And we have a real small congregation, probably about 100 people every weekend, and half of those are kids. Yeah. And so we had an all-staff meeting and, all church meeting, and they showed the 2012 budget up on screen, and we're looking at it, and, there's line items on there that I'm going, what? It's like a $15,000 a month or whatever when it's all said and done, which is relatively really small, actually. But anyway, so I was just looking at line items and going, well, if I were to compare this to my home budget, it makes it a lot harder to go, yeah, I could see that much money going to that
This
and
or that.
that and this and that. And at some level, I don't know if I want to know. Because at some level, I don't want to know what my pastor's making because then I'll go, well, is his income worth what I think he's doing for me? Or, at some level, I just like the number, okay, we're $15,000, whatever. That's what we need every month to survive.
That's interesting because, and it's hard because on one hand, you want the communication. And on the other hand, when you find things out and you're like, oh.
I don't know if we need $200 a month for phones. I mean, do I know? That's not what I spend at my house. And there's only one pastor there, those sort of things. And I go, should I get knee deep into this?
Yes.
Probably not.
I say yes.
Yeah.
Because you're a pastor, saying,
that's
what
the
would happen? But at what point are you just like, oh, you're nitpicking me to death?
Well, and that's what I don't want to
Find
do.
another church to go to. We don't want you anyway.
What I realize is that anything that's going to be able to save us money to be able to go towards ministry, hands down, that's priority. If it's finding a better cell phone plan for your pastors and you're saving them $50 a month, where's that $50 going to be able to go?
Exactly.
To me, that's huge. And I would take the wisdom of our congregation all day long if they're willing to give it to me. Like when we throw up our budget in 2 weeks and we tell them, hey, this is where we're at. If you have advice, we may or may not take it. But
Feel free to give it.
So
here's what I would do in that situation, though. I'd say, listen, the Colorado average is $1,700. We're a third of that. I don't want to beat you up. I really don't.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Can we as a congregation talk and say, what's reasonable? Is this reasonable? Are you new? You're not quite sure yet. Are you getting your feet wet to see if you want to give or not?
Or if you're going to commit to the church, if that's where you're, because that's kind of where we're at is, a year and a half into church, we're starting to see, last week we had 240 people, adults, which we're like, wow, that's huge for us.
Yeah.
But the concept is really okay, so how many are we
think they're listening
retaining?
today?
How many? Yeah, I know. Some people are like, "What? You're talking about me?"
You're going to have 220 next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have like 10. But we don't know how many people are committed to the church just yet. We haven't had that. So we're learning a lot.
Back to the issue of tithe, though.
Yeah.
Is it not people's responsibility to tithe? I mean, I guess I look at it from the standpoint of, yes, I think it should pay for the pastor.
Yeah.
But isn't it a heart issue in some ways when people don't tithe whatever they should be tithing?
Well,
what's your opinion on the should kind of thing, Sam? Because you were talking about how there's no 10% mentioned in the New Testament. That was a pharisaical thing. What's your opinion on what should?
The question is,
It's a weird should.
where in the Bible does it say the pastor gets paid?
Well, it doesn't.
Right.
I mean, because the pastoral
Bible does say a
model
worker
comes from
deserves
the
his
priest
wages.
model.
Right. A
and
worker
you're
is
an
worthy
employee.
of double his wages.
But the
Of
priest,
double?
but the
Yeah,
priest and
double
the
honor.
pastor model are the similar. So we've taken this new concept of a pastor to give it similar to what the priest did to the temple. And the priest lived at the temple, and they ate off the sacrifices that came from the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But when the veil of the temple was torn in two, did Christ not abolish that concept?
yes, he did.
Right,
So
exactly.
then the pastoral piece of that came in.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, okay.
Do you believe all pastors ought to be bivocational?
No.
So
No, I believe that there should be some that are called to that specific purpose, and they are worthy of double honor, and they should be paid. I hear me loud and clear. I don't think all should be that way, because I think what track record I've seen is abuse.
I'll just name
in the
pastors
Christian
and you
church.
tell me if they should be paid or not. I'll just go through.
I can tell you how much.
we were at a
making, too.
church down in Phoenix. I was on staff for a year, and it was the first time I got to see kind of behind the veil of the church. I've been going to church. My dad was a pastor since I was born. It was fascinating to me because our church down there had a first fruits model for the church. So it wasn't just that they're coming to the people and saying, hey, we want your first fruits. We want you to give generously. They would turn around and say, okay, now how many ministries, how many missions organizations, how many missionaries can we fund? So they would actually take their first fruits, the church would, and fund ministry outside the church.
So
it wasn't like they were taking their 20% and saying, hey, we're going to do adult ministries and we're going to do kid ministries. They were sending out 20% of their
Here's
we
what I
just
total
decided
revenue.
to do that.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
2012, we decided
I think it gives
our
you integrity
first is going out.
I think it gives you integrity as a church to say, hey, we're asking for your first fruits.
What are we doing?
And we're going to turn around and we're going to take our first fruits and we're going to pay to help keep kids out of child slavery and we're going to pay to do an educational program in Fiji, and we're going to build wells, and we're going to...
Yeah.
What ticked me off is that it took us a year and a half to figure that out.
Yeah.
But you figured it out.
But we figured it out.
Okay.
I so desperately wish we could have gotten it right. Obviously, we're not going to get everything right the first time.
Sure.
But
I do.
we decided 2012 is going to be the year that we start. Our first fruits are going outside of the church,
Right.
and we want to model to our congregation that this is what we believe.
Sure. And if you want to have integrity as a pastor and stand up, I think you have the right then as a pastor to stand up. And I don't want to say hammer on people, but if you want to put your budget up on the screen and go, look, the first 20% of everything you give is going to Haiti, or it's going to Fiji, or it's going to Africa, or it's going to wherever. So we're being responsible with the money you're giving us.
That's cool.
The rest of it, whatever God leaves us, then we're going to use that to fund programs here. But it's more important for us that we send that money out. And giving was not a huge problem at that church, to be
All right,
honest.
let me throw this one out
Yeah.
because this will make some churches mad. It's when the service became a program. I was reading something about this online, where you're funding a program. It's not, because we got to ask ourselves, why are we going to church? And that's changed. It's changed on why we go to church. We're going for a program. We're going to go and we're going to hear good music and we're going to hear, great singing, and the lights are going to be good, and they're going to play a couple of great videos, and then the pastor's going to talk for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to go home. And I look at that and I go, have we skewed that? Have we made this entertainment? Have we made it, well, you're going to come on Sunday, we're going to entertain you like crazy, and then you're going to get a little bit of a message, and then we're all going to go home.
But here's what's shocking. The answer to that is yes.
What?
Emphatically. That there are people, when I was at this
Oh,
church...
no, I know, I'm sure.
That when they didn't like the worship,
They left.
they would blast They wouldn't necessarily leave, at least not right
They
away.
would vocalize it.
They would
huh?
vocalize. They would send a thing to the worship pastor. They
Yeah.
would send a thing to the senior pastor. They would send a thing to the operations pastor, letting them know how bad worship was because this song didn't get done or this song did get done, or
Interesting.
the worship guy was trying to look too cool, or the violinist wasn't dressed appropriately.
And somehow they have a right to say this because they pay.
That's right.
They pay
That's
to
right.
come
So
on
they
Sunday
feel
morning.
like, they feel like they have a right.
There's the
and so they
entitlement.
and it's devastating to pastors because they know what their heart is. So when the worship pastor would get up and lead worship, he knows what's in his heart and he knows what he's trying to bring. And somebody says, well, he's obviously wearing expensive jeans and he's
then-
got the cool haircut.
Then they
It's like,
cater to those people
really?
because
Yeah.
the pastors
Yeah.
know that they can't lose another tither.
You know what
They
I'd
can't
say?
lose that.
I'd say you need to find another church.
Yeah.
I had a pastor that said that openly.
Yeah.
Because he started hounding the church on something. I forget what it was. And he goes, I know there's a lot of you out there thinking, well, maybe I ought to go, put my tithe someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and if you're thinking that, you should leave this church.
Yeah. Right.
There are other churches for you to go to, and this is not the one for you.
Right.
And we were meeting in, the cafeteria of a school on folding chairs, and it was great. It was fine. It was
worked.
Yeah, but I think what you're talking about in some ways is a bigger problem than just tithing to the church. I mean, because you're dealing with issues of integrity, both financial and moral
Time,
integrity, but you're also dealing with issues of should I give my money to somebody that I don't think is integrity filled? Like my church, I look at my church and go, "Ooh, should I give my money?" I'm not saying my church. Let me just be
you
clear.
mean
You said it.
figuratively,
Figuratively speaking,
hypothetically, another person.
yeah,
and I'm not saying that sarcastically.
No, but a person
gonna
might
get in
think,
trouble.
should I give my money to the church who I don't necessarily know if I trust,
Right.
or should I give it to a NGO or a
A missionary that I know
a
that I can
missionary that I
trust.
know that I want to give?
sure.
Where should that tithe go?
And should we have other organizations? Should we have church where it's a pastor? You're going to go and you're going to hear from the Word. And then we've got the Christian Arts Center where you're going to go and, have art showings and you're going to have, musicals and plays. And I don't know. I'm going way
Sam,
off track
maybe you have
here.
a better answer for this,
Yeah.
but do you think giving is higher or lower in a mega church than it would be at a church that's meeting at a school? So a church that has a
Percentage-wise.
$10 million facility that's brand new,
Well, I'll give you.
or they're meeting at a junior high.
Here, I'll give it out there. On average, is Osteen getting more per person
Hands down, yes.
percentage than Allan's church?
Well, they have the prosperity gospel behind them. So when you're preaching that, you're obviously going to have a 10 times higher of a giving percentage than anybody else. Give X amount and you'll be blessed back with X amount. So that that's
and if
different.
not here, at least in heaven.
Right? Yeah, exactly. There's an extra crown. That's a good question
Engineer
because
Mike fell out of his chair.
Sorry. I worked at a church where when at our peak we had 1,800 people, but we were in a school. So I think it's going to, I don't know, and that was pre-horrible economy.
Right.
And our giving was great. I mean, we could have averaged $38,000 a weekend.
Yeah.
And so we were doing great, but then when it went crazy and everything went downhill, they were struggling to get 10 to 15 a weekend.
Right.
But their
Hey, let me-
budgets were set at that high number.
Right.
So
Oh,
and that's where, it all comes. I know that this next generation that's coming, they're not fooled.
yeah.
They
well,
know
it's not only
what
they're not
churches
full,
are
but
going
they've
to
been
teach them the word.
disillusioned, and so you really do deal with,
Well,
let me throw you a crazy curveball, okay? And I know
Shoot.
you'd love this problem to happen at your church. Actually, I don't think you would, because I knew the pastor, and he said, "I don't know what to do. I am so conflicted." But he did a sermon on tithe and on giving to the church, and it wasn't a big, hammer you over the head kind of a thing. But he had a guy who was new to the church and was getting involved. He said, I'd love to meet with you. And he goes, okay. And he goes, I want to talk to you about, that sermon you preached. And they met and they were talking. And he said, so, you're talking about 10%, right? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, my weekly tithe is more than your yearly church budget.
Well,
Oh my goodness.
wow.
Let me rephrase that. Let me say it again. This guy made lots and lots and lots of money. What his 10%, his 1 week's 10% it was virtually double the church's yearly budget.
Unbelievable.
And my friend was like, immediately I was like, everybody's getting a Benz, you know? But then he thought, this will ruin us.
Yeah.
This will literally ruin us. It'll be demotivational to every other person here. No one's going to give. And said I had to go to people that were much wiser than me to come up with something for this guy so that it would not skew.
Everything
And then he
else.
was giving a fraction of a percent to this church, and they were having portfolio management so that he could bless other ministries. And I said, how much do you struggle with that? And he goes, not that much anymore, but there are days where the budget does not come in.
Right.
And I think if he could give 1%, you know,
Wow.
kind of a thing. And that's a struggle, but you got to commend a guy that's super honest that comes and just
Yeah,
says,
that's integrity
explain
right
this
there.
to me.
That's huge.
I love
That's
I love
huge.
that.
But how much of that is people tithing based on their debt load, or how much they feel they should give,
Yeah, that's
or
a
how
good
much they
question.
want to give, or how much they were blessed by the music last week or whatever? I mean, for us, and I'll speak for my family, we tithe whether or not we have the money.
Right.
We tithe.
So do we.
We don't. I mean, because I own my own business, we tithe right off the top. So any money that comes in,
gone.
we tithe right off
there.
the top.
Yeah.
Now, whether we actually remember to take the check to church is a different issue, but but we do tithe right off the top. And so we do it out of an act of obedience more than an act of this is going to help out the pastor, or more out of an act of, oh, worship was awesome.
Right.
We do it in the sense that we are worshiping God by giving him back
Yeah.
something that he's already blessed us
My
for.
understanding of my own finances is more affected by my willingness or ability to tithe or to share with missionaries and sponsor kids and do all that kind of thing, because it puts me in a position of saying, this isn't my money, right? I'm going to give God reign over everything in my life except for my paycheck, which I'm going to hold back. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, this is all from God, so I'm just returning to God what's already his. And my finances have gotten more screwed up when I haven't done that.
Right.
And when I've said, you know what, we've got this debt, we're not in a position to tithe anymore. And it just goes downhill and downhill and downhill.
Here's what I'll tell you, because we got to close it out. We've been talking about this for an hour now. Well, that and tipping.
And Waffle House.
And Waffle
Here's
House.
what I'd like to see a church do. And I'm going to base this on my dad, and hopefully I won't embarrass him by saying these things. My dad's never taken a salary from the ministries he's worked for, not one penny. In fact, we found out after his tenure at his last ministry was over that in the original board minutes, he was supposed to get paid. And it was a nominal fee, but never took it. So I was like, get that back pay, you know. But he didn't. But he said that early on in his career, he decided how much he would need to make to be comfortable. And he's never made a penny more than that. And that was that was in the 70s.
Wow.
And he said my dad is statistical genius and way smarter than I am. But he would figure, he's got an algorithm for standard of living,
Adjustment.
adjustments,
3%
things
or
like
whatever,
that.
Sure.
But I didn't know for years. We were very, very middle class in the 80s. And I found out a couple of years ago, I heard the figure, but didn't put two and two together, that at one point in the 80s, he had 7 of the top 10 bestsellers at one time, which has never happened before. It's never happened again.
Right.
It's never going to. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went off and was like, whoa, he was making truckloads of money. There had to just been tanker carriers of change coming in.
Pulling up to your front door.
And I asked him that, and he goes, well, and he started listing all the places where that money went that wasn't us.
Wow.
And I thanked him for it. I said, had you given us that money growing up, it would have ruined me. It would have ruined me, and he didn't. I know what a dollar means. I've been broke. I've been without, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'd love to see a church say, listen, we're not going to spend more than X amount per populace in the church. If we've got 1,000 members, then our budget's going to be X. And you can have the algorithm, for taxes and cost of living and all those different things change. But say, these are the things that we're going to spend money on, and just be open about it. Here's the things we're not going to spend money on. We're not going to get a $3 million sound system. It's just unnecessary.
That's a lot of money.
That's a literal number.
I could name 20 churches that have more than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could too.
Yeah,
I can name 5 here in town probably.
I know.
But this is let's close on this, because I want to close on a high note. Be responsible with your money. Ask God what to do.
Yes.
Be responsible. I went to
Amen.
Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. That's one of the greatest things I've been to.
Yeah.
It gives you peace. Financial Peace University. What a silly commercial I've just given for him. It's true though.
Dude,
he's right. He's
that's so
funny and he's
true.
sarcastic and
But he's on.
he is.
Well, and what he does in that regard is he says, manage your own money.
Yeah.
And then everything excess, give it away.
That's right.
So it's the same idea
Yeah.
of, you know.
I was at the surplus store. I was hanging out with my friends Clint and Justin from HQCompany.com.
I'm there.
Another
That's
plug.
my place. And a woman was buying something. She pulled out an envelope with cash. And I go, Dave Ramsey?
Cash is king.
The look on her face, it was like, are you from the CIA? And she goes, how did you know? I go, you're paying cash out of an envelope.
That's right.
And she goes, it's changed my life. And I'm
That's
like, yeah,
amazing.
it's what he does.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I just gotta let me read this.
But here's the
verse.
deal.
This-
I'm going to disagree. Does Dave Ramsey going to disagree with me? Because he's got that tip card that's like, here's how much you pay. And I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we'll
I
throw
don't.
that one out.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave. I love you. I love everything about the program.
But the tip card?
The tip card makes you look cheap.
Dude, based off of what you said to start that ending off, be wise with your money. Let me just read you this verse. 2 Corinthians 9:7. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion.
Under compulsion, yeah.
For God loves a cheerful giver.
Yep. That's right.
So,
Hence the issue with tipping in my
Exactly.
mind.
What you know about that, Romney?
Yeah.
Bring it all back around.
I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble for that one.
Yeah, probably did.
Hey, by the way, Right Wing Watch. I know you're listening to the program. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying it. But when I have a program with Dr. Jeff Myers and you report on it, stop calling him Right. Okay? His name is Dr. Jeff Myers. In the first sentence of your reporting, you said Dr. Jeff Myers. In the title and the rest of the body, you called him Right. I don't know where you got it from. And it's not R-I-G-H-T, which would be fine because he is right, but it was W-R-I-G-H-T. I don't know where that came from. Had lots of people on the
Plagiarizers.
Facebook page that were confused about your article. I had a lot of offers for proofreading if you need that. So hit me up if you'd like
Or
that.
copy and paste.
And God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Free for All Friday, Monday, World Mac Monday with Warren Cole Smith, smartest man I know. We're getting video up soon. I'm looking at the camera right now. I'm looking at you. Do you feel like a cheapo because you're not tipping very much?
or tithing.
Or tithing? You should feel worse about not tithing. Why do we feel guilty about not tipping? Do we go walk out of a church and be like, whatever? All right, I've talked enough. God bless. See you next week.